Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy, member of the Judiciary Committee. Sir, good morning to you. Thanks for coming back. How important or significant is this vote today?
Not very. I think it's a lot of play acting. Speaker Pelosi's Plan A, the secret hearings and the absence of due process just didn't work. She got a lot of pushback, not just from the politicians up here, but I think a lot of members of the American people were offended, whether they like Trump or not. We all believe in due process and the rule of law. So she's moved to Plan B. My personal opinion is it's like putting fresh paint on rotten wood. I think everybody knows how it's going to come out. This whole, I don't know, freak show, circus without a tent, whatever you want to call it, maybe that's being too harsh. Let's just call it play acting. This was all preordained as soon as the Mueller report came out. The Washington establishment, and I'm talking about the entrenched politicians here on both sides of the aisle, members of the media, academics, the corporate phonies, they just knew that Bob Mueller was going to get rid of the president. And they were shocked when he called it like he saw it. And they started scrambling, and I think this was planned the day after the Mueller report came out.
Now, well, the phone call did take place the day after the Mueller hearing in late July. Yeah. Yesterday, Mike McCall was in with us today. Yeah. He's been inside for a lot of these depositions or interviews, however you want to call them. I know you have not been. But he was making the case that he believes the whistleblower is complicit with Adam Schiff. And the reason why we will never know the whistleblower's identity is because it'll blow the cover off what Adam Schiff has been doing. Now, what does that mean as you hear from your other colleagues there on the Hill?
Well, I hope it's not true, number one. I understand there was some contact between the whistleblower and Chairman Schiff, and I hope it wasn't extensive. I wouldn't just faint with surprise if it were true, but I hope it isn't true. Number two, I think most people's attitude up here on both sides of the aisle is we know how this movie ends. I mean, is there anybody in the Milky Way who really thinks that Speaker Pelosi or Chairman Schiff are impartial? I don't. I think they've made up their mind. I mean, their judicial philosophy on this has been guilty. Now, whether you like the president or don't like the president, I think that offends some people because, you know, I'm rather fond of the Constitution and I believe in due process and the rule of law and fair procedure. And I can promise you, if this gets to the Senate...
Democrats would say that Republicans have been looking for a vote for some time, and today they'll get it, at least on the resolution for the format going forward. Why would that not be satisfactory, given the amount of pushback
Well,
from your side?
You have to ask a vote for what? These rules aren't due process. The minority, yes, the minority can now call witnesses, but only with Chairman Schiff's and Speaker Pelosi's consent. You know, I mean, that's not due process. You can't challenge the evidence if your opponent gets to approve the introduction of the evidence first. That's why I say it's a lot of play acting.
One more thing on this. If the greater majority of Democrats vote with this resolution and Republicans vote against it, maybe a few cross over on each side, but we're looking right now at less than perhaps a handful of Democrats and a handful of Republicans. Well, you know how the American people view Congress in many ways in Washington.
I do.
Well, what does this do to the level of progress on anything going forward? How does this affect this presidency?
I think, well, in terms of congressional approval, I was telling one of my colleagues the other day, you know, that the Speaker Pelosi better be careful because she's going to hurt Congress's 10% approval rating here with the American people. I think our country's very divided. I think half are saying to themselves, give the guy a break. And the other half are saying, how did we get here? And you know what, Bill? That's why God made elections. We're going to have another election in what, 13 months? And that's why I was this was predictable, but I frankly thought Speaker Pelosi was a better tactician than to try to ram through an impeachment simply because she doesn't like the president's policies.
Well, Senator,
this is all going to come down to one issue. Why did the president ask for the investigation?
And in a public hearing, we may hear that the week of November 11th. At least
you
that's
will
what
get
we
fairness
are
in the
to
Senate.
believe.
We'll do it right in the Senate.
Sir, come on back soon. John Kennedy,
Thanks,
thank
Bill.
you for your time.